My child, this stops with you, not because you are stronger than everyone before you, not because you are perfect, not because you figured everything out, but because I am breaking the cycle you grew up in. You have felt it for years, the patterns, the tension, the reactions that don't even feel fully yours, the anger that rises too fast, the silence that feels too familiar, the fear that shows up before love even has a chance. You told yourself, this is just how my family is. You told yourself, this is normal. You told yourself, it's just how I am. But deep inside, you knew something wasn't right. You felt the weight of what was handed to you. Unspoken pain, unresolved conflict, emotional distance, criticism disguised as discipline, affection that felt conditional, and part of you was afraid that you would repeat it, afraid that you would become it, afraid that the same wounds would flow through you to someone else. Listen carefully. It stops with you, not by your willpower alone, but by my power working in you. 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come. This verse is teaching you that inheritance is not destiny. You may have inherited patterns, but you did not inherit a fixed identity. The true meaning of this verse is transformation at the root, not surface adjustment, not behavioral masking. New creation. That means what shaped you does not have the final word over you. You are not obligated to carry forward what harmed you. You are not sentenced to repeat what wounded you. You are not required to mirror the dysfunction you witnessed. When I say new, I mean new responses, new reactions, new ways of loving, new ways of speaking, new ways of choosing. You think change is impossible because the pattern feels deep, but deep does not mean permanent. Some of you react before you think, because you learned survival early. You learned to raise your voice before you were heard. You learned to withdraw before you were rejected. You learned to criticize yourself before someone else did. Those were coping mechanisms. But coping mechanisms are not character, and they are not your destiny. Ezekiel 36:26 says, I will give you a new heart and put a new spirit within you. I will remove your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. This verse is teaching you that I work internally first. I do not only adjust your behavior, I transform your heart. A heart of stone is hardened by survival. It protects. It resists. It shuts down. A heart of flesh feels again. It softens. It responds with compassion instead of reflex. The true meaning of this verse is restoration of what trauma numbed. You may have learned to shut down because feeling was unsafe. You may have learned to explode because silence meant invisibility. You may have learned to avoid conflict because conflict meant chaos. But I am not asking you to stay in those survival patterns. I am giving you a new heart, one that can pause, one that can choose differently, one that can respond instead of react. Some of you are afraid that if you let go of the pattern, you will lose control. But the pattern never gave you control. It gave you repetition. And repetition is not freedom. Galatians 5:1 says, it is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by a yoke of slavery. This verse is teaching you that cycles can become chains. When you repeat what hurts you, it feels familiar. But familiar does not mean healthy. The true meaning of this verse is release from inherited bondage. You are not called to carry forward what enslaved the generations before you. You are called into freedom. Freedom looks like different conversations. Freedom looks like apologies where there were none before. Freedom looks like boundaries that were never modeled. Freedom looks like patience where anger used to dominate. Freedom looks like choosing therapy when silence was the norm. Freedom looks like forgiveness when resentment was tradition. It stops with you, not because you are flawless, but because you are aware. Awareness is the beginning of change. You noticed the pattern. You felt the discomfort. You asked, why do I react this way? That question alone is generational disruption. Some of you feel guilt for wanting something different. You feel like breaking the cycle means dishonoring your family. But healing is not betrayal. Healing is redemption. You can honor people without repeating their pain. You can love your family without inheriting their dysfunction. You can acknowledge their wounds without becoming their echo. Exodus 34:7 speaks of consequences reaching generations, but it also reveals something deeper. I am merciful. My mercy outweighs inherited consequences. Patterns may travel through bloodlines, but mercy interrupts them. I do not define you by what came before you. I define you by who I am within you. You are not destined to become your worst example. You are becoming my example. That means when anger rises, you can pause. When fear triggers control, you can breathe. When silence tempts avoidance, you can speak gently. This is not instant. It is intentional. Breaking cycles is slow work. It is uncomfortable work, because it requires you to choose differently than what feels automatic. But automatic does not equal ordained. Some of you worry you will fail. You think one mistake means the cycle continues. But breaking a cycle is not about perfection. It is about direction. Every time you pause instead of explode, you disrupt it. Every time you communicate instead of withdraw, you weaken it. Every time you apologize instead of justify, you fracture it. Every time you forgive instead of resent, you dismantle it. You are not alone in this work. I am within you, strengthening, guiding, softening, convicting without shaming. You may not see the full impact now, but the way you respond today will shape someone else's tomorrow. The gentleness you choose will become someone else's security. The patience you practice will become someone else's foundation. The boundaries you establish will become someone else's safety. It stops with you, not because you are perfect, but because you are willing to face what others avoided, willing to feel what others suppressed, willing to heal what others ignored. That willingness is courage, and I honor it. You are not cursed to repeat. You are called to redeem. You are not doomed to mirror dysfunction. You are empowered to model health. You are not trapped in generational patterns. You are walking in generational freedom. It stops with you, not in anger, not in rebellion, but in healing. And healing will ripple forward, my child. The cycle does not define you. The past does not imprison you. The pattern does not own you. I am breaking it. And you are not alone in the process. It stops with you, and with me it truly stops.